Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Greg Gazelle. I'm the Director of Product Marketing on the Sales Cloud team here at Salesforce. Really happy to be here with you in Chicago. I come out here a lot. Really like the town. I want to start with a quick question. How many of you are not a Salesforce customer yet or have been a customer for less than a year? Can you raise your hand, please? All right, so a good number of you. Thank you for learning more about Salesforce. How many of you have been with us between 1 and 5 years? All right, so about a quarter, maybe a third. How many of you have been with us for more than 5 years? Great. Good number. Thanks for being part of the family. So part of my job is working with you, is listening to customers. And throughout my 10 years at Salesforce, I found that there are two main things that drive someone to become a Salesforce customer and to stay a Salesforce customer. The first is that we're the world's #1 CRM. We're the market leader. We're the most innovative company in the world. But the second is because of all of you. It's because of all of our customers. We have built up a set of best practices and industry expertise unlike anyone in the industry has ever seen. And so that's what I want to share with you today, because we know how to run an effective sales organization. We know how to help you grow your revenue. And so that's exactly what we're going to talk about for the next 40 minutes. So before we get started, Salesforce is a publicly traded company, so please make any buying decisions based upon technology that's currently available. At Salesforce, we have one mission as a company, and that's to help make your customers love you. We want to help every single person in this room connect with your customers in new, interesting, unique, and meaningful ways. We want you to connect with your customers in entirely new ways throughout that entire customer lifecycle. And that customer lifecycle all starts with sales. The sales experience is the first chance that you have to build that trust and build that relationship with your customer. It all starts with sales. And the Sales Cloud is built from the ground up to help you sell faster, to help you sell smarter, and to really help you sell the way that you want to. And I think that third point is the most important, because every business out there has your unique competitive advantage. There's something that sets you apart from all the competitors in your industry. That's how you make money. That's how you're successful. And if you use a tool that forces you to change your competitive advantage, you have to change to fit into the tool, that's a recipe for disaster, not success. The tool needs to be able to change to fit your unique business needs. And that's possible because of the Salesforce Advantage and the Salesforce platform. Our multi-tenant platform is built for companies of all sizes. We have large enterprises running multi-language, multi-product, multi-currency, complicated sales processes on the Sales Cloud. We also have SMBs who are the 2, the 5, the 10-person companies investing in Salesforce because they know that we can grow and scale with them. They pick one technology vendor to take them from a 2-person company to a 200-person company to a 2,000-person company. The wheel goes round. We've been recognized by the industry analysts for this. Gartner's put us at the top of their Magic Quadrant for the last 9 years running. And we're not just the leader by an inch, we're the leader by a mile. We're way up there by ourselves. It's an amazing recognition. And I love reading industry reports as much as the next person. But the thing that really excites me the most, and I'm the most proud of, is the 150,000 customers who are running their business on top of the Sales Cloud. Fortune 50 companies like Honeywell, a giant manufacturer, or Charles Schwab, just ask Chuck, they're using the Salesforce platform. Or a small 70-person electric motorcycle company named Zero out of Santa Cruz, California. They are changing the motorcycle industry by making these amazing green bikes, and they're using Salesforce to help them succeed. So we are students of our customers. We listen to you. Like I said, it's a big part of my job is just listening to our customers. And we actually poll all of our customers twice a year. We want to hear what you think. And we see these amazing results across our customer base. We see a 37% increase in win rate. Or the one that I get the most excited about is the third one, a 44% increase in sales productivity. That's an extra day and a half of selling per week. Could you imagine if your teams could sell all day Saturday and half the day on Sunday, but still go home on a Friday afternoon? What could you do with that much extra selling time? That's what more productivity gets you, and we'll talk about that in a little while. And all these stats lead to a 37% increase in overall revenue. Again, an amazing statistic that we see across our customers. So I've been at Salesforce for 10 years as an employee, as I was in sales, I talked to customers, I've been a customer of Salesforce. So I want to share with you 4 of the best practices that I have learned over my 10 years of working with Salesforce. And the first best practice is all about pipeline. Companies live and die by their pipeline. If you're not generating new interest and finding new people to sell to, there's no way that you can grow. It's impossible. And so pipeline begins with a really good marketing machine. You need to be generating that new interest, having good, relevant leads. We've heard for years about this strife between sales and marketing. Marketing thinks that sales isn't following up on the leads. They're not investing the time and following up on their good, hard work. And salespeople think that marketing is giving them irrelevant and out-of-date leads. There's this tension that always exists, right? Between the people who are calling the names and the people who are generating the names. Salesforce Engage solves that problem. It's the olive branch between the sales department and the marketing department. And as a marketer, that makes me a little bit nervous, but also very excited. Because the marketing department can generate branded, on-message, approved email journeys. And then sales reps can actually enroll their individual customers into these nurture journeys. Because who understands a prospect better than the sales rep? They're calling them every day, they're talking to them, they're trying to get to know their customers. And so now they can enroll them in these custom journeys to move them along the sales process. And this results in bigger deals and faster deal cycles, and overall increasing your pipeline because you're starting off your relationship with your customer on the right foot. A sales rep's most valuable time or valuable asset is their time. And sales reps waste a tremendous amount of time not actually selling. They're looking for a phone number. They're trying to find an email. They're trying to network and find a decision maker, right? There's a lot of investment and time that goes in to actually making that phone call and engaging in that sales cycle. Data.com helps give sales rep their time back. Data.com is amazing at finding where you've been successful and helping you emulate that success. For example, say I'm a sales rep and I'm on fire. I'm selling to financial services customers in the Southeast. I can't lose a deal. So how do I emulate that success? Data.com helps me pull a list based upon industry, based upon geography, and now I immediately have a list of names that I can start calling on and increasing my pipeline. It's so easy. It's just a few clicks, and now I know who to call next. So throughout all the customers I've talked to, big, small, regardless of the industry or the geography, there's one universal best practice that I think everyone in this room should write down and make sure you're really internalizing. And that's to measure what you want to improve, to use dashboards, to figure out what are your key performance indicators and how do you track towards them. Because if you're not measuring them, you can't fix and improve them. And one thing that we always see when we're talking about dashboards is the old sales leaderboard or the number tracking towards your quota. But you can't just track what you're doing, you have to track what you're not doing. So my best practice to you is to do a clean your room dashboard. When I think of a clean your room dashboard, you're tracking things like leads without a phone number, an account without an industry, an opportunity or a deal without a competitor. All of those key pieces of information need to be tracked, and you need to measure your reps and making sure they're inputting good data. Because good data saves time, leads to better pipeline, and then as a sales manager, you can actually measure your deals more effectively. So clean your room, remember that one, go home. There's a template available on the App Exchange that you can install. I'll talk about that in a couple minutes. So Kellogg's is one of the most recognized brands in the world. They have 25,000 employees, and they are a $15 billion company. So we're really lucky to have Adam DeLong. He's the Director of Sales Strategy and Effectiveness here to join us. Adam,
hey,
welcome
Greg.
to Salesforce.
Thank you.
So Adam, tell us a little bit about Kellogg's.
So I'm sure everyone here has heard of Kellogg. We are a global company with dozens of brands and over 30 billion in sales. I think when most folks think of Kellogg, they think of cereal, but we're also a very large, world's second largest snacking company with things like Pringles and, Cheez-Its.
What's your favorite snack food?
It's got to be Pringles. I can't think of another food that you can open up one can that tastes like a candy cane and open up another can that tastes like a hamburger.
So once you pop the top, you don't stop? I think that was the old ad from the 90s. All right. So tell us a little bit about your role at Kellogg's.
So my role at Kellogg, I work in the Kellogg Specialty Channel division. So that's all the food that you get away from a grocery store. So anything you think of that you're getting a can of Pringles at a college or university, or a veggie burger at a hospital, or Kellogg cereal at a K through 12 school, that's really the area that we cover. And it's a very complex business with over 1.5 million locations across the country.
Wow. When we were talking before this, you told me about a really ambitious project that you took on. So you wanted to have it so that any sales rep could access any piece of information in under a minute. I mean, that's a very, very ambitious goal. So how did you approach that, and how did you kind of come up with that ambition?
Yeah, so I'm glad you brought that up, Greg. Really, I joined Kellogg about 3 years ago, and the task I was assigned, my brief, was really about how do we drive sales effectiveness. And as we took a look at our sales organization, we saw there was a significant amount of time spent doing administrative work. And our sales team was actually spending less than 30% of their time in front of customers. A huge, huge opportunity for us. So we set out on a very ambitious goal to provide the sales team with everything they needed, to your point, in under a minute. How we were going to do that was really finding a platform that helped us do things to remove a lot of that administrative work, create a platform that they would engage in so that they would get more out of it than what they put in. And that's where Salesforce came into play.
I love that. You have to give the reps more out of it than they're putting into it. It can't just be the stick, it has to be the carrot too.
Yep.
So how did that change your sales organization? What kind of results did you see?
So we've seen significant results. And like I said, we started this project about 3 years ago. Over the past 2 years, it took us about 6 to 8 months to get up and running. The first year, we saw significant results. We saw the number of sales calls per week. It was interesting, you brought up the productivity statistic. We saw that number jump significantly, over 25%. But really, it had to do more with productivity from are we calling on the right customers? I mentioned there's over 1.5 million food away from home locations across the country, and being able to focus the sales force, not just to make more sales calls, but to make the right sales calls, has been tremendously impactful. And the dashboards help us do that.
That's fantastic. So what's your best practice that you can share with all the audience here so they can have 25% more calls? It's amazing. It's an extra day a week.
Yeah, my biggest advice would be start with the end user. There is so much that could go into a project like this that you could get overwhelmed. Start with the end user, find out what they value most and what they value least. Find that least valuable thing and take it off their plate. Turn them into your evangelists. One thing that made our project successful was some of our biggest veterans, 30-plus year veterans, turned into our champions because we were removing what they saw as not value-added work. They were traditional salespeople that loved to be in front of customers. Our platform provided that, and that's really what drove the success, starting with the end user.
That's excellent. The WIFM, I think they call it. What's in it for me is
yes, exactly.
Cheeky acronym. Adam, that's great. Thanks so much for sharing your story with us.
Thank you, Greg.
Appreciate it. So that leads perfectly into the next best practice, and that's to focus on productivity. Kellogg's a massive organization, so a 25% increase in their call volume because they focused on the end user and focused on maximizing productivity. So when I think of productivity, I think about giving more time back to the sales reps. And one way to do that is be able to do your job from anywhere, to be able to measure your CRM and actually do activities, log calls, no matter where you are. And the Salesforce One mobile application is the way to run your business from your phone. Salesforce One is a complete CRM. It's all of your data. Plus, you can update your opportunities. You can log calls. You can create tasks. You can collaborate with your team and view your dashboards, all with just a few taps of the phone. It's free. It's available right now for every single person in this room to go in and use. It's an amazing application that will immediately add value to your sales reps. It's an entire platform on any mobile device. And we've taken that a step farther with the Salesforce IQ Inbox application. That's actually putting intelligence inside of your inbox on your phone. And Ronnie's going to give us a great demonstration of that in a couple of minutes. So for a sales rep, you have to start your day off fast. You need to be productive. And you sit down in the morning at your desk, you read through your email, which is normal, everyone does it. But then what's your next action? Once you get through your inbox, what's the first thing you can do? The new home page inside of the Lightning Experience actually tells you that. There's this amazing feature called the Assistant. And I've never actually had an assistant myself. But Assistant intelligently looks in and looks at all of your opportunities and your leads and your tasks and tells you what to do. It makes a prioritized list for a sales rep as soon as they open up Salesforce. I mean, that's amazing. You know what to do and what to call and who to call as soon as you open the application. It's an amazing productivity driver that is, again, available inside of the Lightning Experience. So for sales reps, you're on your mobile device. You're starting your day faster. But selling's hard. There's a lot that goes into moving a deal from lead to actually closing it. So how do you give sales reps advice in the moment, in context? You could do that with the Sales Path. Sales Path is a visual indicator and visual guide. It's available on a mobile device and available on a desktop. So you could tell your reps exactly what they need to do at every stage of the sales cycle. Imagine if you're a brand new sales rep and you have a 6-stage sales process. Every stage is different. Different questions, different documents, different best practices. Now that's all built in. So I know, who do I need to call when I'm negotiating? What forms do I need to fill out to pass over to the lawyers? It's all available to me right inside of the Sales Path. So I'm going to contradict myself here. I'm going to give you a warning. I told you all to write something down before. I'm seeing people taking notes over here. There's a problem with taking notes on a piece of paper. You inevitably throw the piece of paper in your bag and never come back to it. I'm a big proponent. I take a lot of notes in my notebook. I draw the little square next to an action item. I flip the page and I never come back. It's a problem, right? It's a problem with any notes application. But the Salesforce Notes application helps to remedy that problem. Because now I could take rich text notes inside of Salesforce and I immediately have business context. So I type up my notes. I can actually swipe with my finger to create a follow-up item. So as soon as I'm done with my customer meeting, my entire team knows what we talked about and knows what we need to do to actually keep moving this deal forward. It's incredibly powerful, and it gives real context to all of the conversations you're having with your customers. So how many of you are Microsoft customers? You might use Microsoft Outlook, Excel, PowerPoint. The bulk of you. That's great. How many of you use Office 365? A good amount of you as well. I think more and more people are moving that way. Salesforce and Microsoft have a strategic partnership. We're bringing the world's #1 CRM and the world's #1 productivity suite together so that everyone in this room can work faster and work smarter. And there's no better example of that than the Salesforce app for Outlook. This is a completely cloud-based plugin for Outlook and Outlook 365, so that when I click on an email, now I get CRM context. I could see your account record. I could see if you have any customer support cases open. And I could see what open opportunities you and I are working on together, all by just clicking on an email. It's incredibly powerful. Plus, I could quickly sync those emails into Salesforce. So I'm saving the emails that matter. I'm sharing them with my team. I never have to spend 10 minutes searching for the subject, searching for the keywords inside of Outlook, hoping I find the right email within the chain. That's a nightmare, right? We've all been there before. But the app for Outlook allows me to quickly sync my emails so I can find them later. So we are really excited to welcome SteelBrick into the Salesforce family. SteelBrick joined us about 2 months ago, and SteelBrick specializes in CPQ. It's configure, price, quote. They're completely built on the Salesforce platform. So now, if you're a sales rep, as you're going through your deal, right on your opportunity, you could quickly bring in your products from your back-end system, do complicated quoting, and use Salesforce's built-in rules and approval engine to actually pass that approval on to finance. I have a special discount I need, automatically goes to my manager. He can approve it right on his watch. It's so powerful, and you get all the data that would traditionally be in siloed systems right inside of the Sales Cloud. So I'm really excited to bring up Ronnie Brandt. He's on our Sales Cloud team. He's going to walk us through a demonstration and show us how we can sell smarter and faster.
Hey,
Ronnie, welcome.
Thank you, Greg. Great to be here today. Today, I'm going to demo from the perspective of a sales rep. And with my friend Serena back at the demo booth, we're going to show you a whole bunch of those best practices Greg just talked about and how you can be as productive as possible inside of the Sales Cloud. So like many of you, I'm addicted to my phone. I do not let it out of my sight. And the first thing I do every day is clear out my inbox and fire up Salesforce IQ. Emails changed for me because I get insight against every single person that I'm having an email with. Let's take a look at this message from James here. James works at Presidio Technologies, and I've been trying to start a deal with them for a very long time. It looks like he finally wants to set a meeting. Salesforce IQ is actually integrated with my calendar, so I can tell James in my reply what times I'm available, able to select which times I'm available at, and when I actually reply, he can pick the time that works for him. If my calendar fills up, the times will disappear from the message. No more scheduling back and forth, back and forth. But it gets even better. I'm prompted to log my message into Salesforce as soon as I click reply, and I can click on the little blue cloud in the upper corner and find out what accounts James is associated with and if there are any open opportunities. Doesn't look like there's one, and I'm about to start a new deal, so let's start an opportunity right here inside of Salesforce IQ because it's aligned to the Salesforce One app. Now, once I clear out my inbox, it's time to check out leads. So let's flip over to Salesforce One. On the left-hand side here, you see the navigation optimized for me to access everything inside the Sales Cloud. But my leads are inside of Salesforce Engage. Salesforce Engage turns every single sales rep into their own marketer, so they can understand how leads are interacting with their site. Jody is the top lead here. It looks like she went to a webinar, maybe downloaded a few different assets, like ebooks and whatnot. So I want to take advantage of that interest. I can add Jody to a marketing-approved nurture campaign. Let's pick 30-day nurture and save. Now I'm marketing to her to convert that interest into a new deal. After I clear out my leads, I head over to the office and sit down at my desk and log into Salesforce and land on the all-new Lightning Experience. This is the new homepage, and I finally get one thing that I've always wanted, my own assistant. On the right-hand side, the assistant is prioritizing actions that I need to take every day, following up on leads or opportunities that need attention. On the left is the familiar navigation we just saw in Salesforce One, but front and center, I have a performance chart to track exactly how deals are driving towards my quota, and it looks like I'm going to pass my quota. So I'll even add a stretch target to see what it's going to take to get to 3 million instead of 2.5. But there's a new lead from John. So let's drill in. It looks like he's at Nike, and I want to call him to get a deal going. As I'm talking to John in this phone call, I can create a note. And in the new composer, I can start typing notes, and they auto-save. It acts just like Gmail or other web applications. It stays docked to the page, it's familiar, and if you switch screens, it'll stay put, so you always can have your note there. And like Greg was saying earlier, I'm not going to lose my note now, because now it's inside of Salesforce attached to the contact. If I want to learn more about Nike, we can go straight to the account. And on the account page, there's going to be a section that says Account Insights. The Account Insights section, like we see on the screen now, is populating news stories to help me have insightful conversations and relevant conversations with every person at Nike I talk to. And better yet, data.com is installed. So I can even get financial information about Nike, see which competitors are acting up so we can help Nike beat Adidas, and even get the account hierarchy, which helps me engage every single person that's going to be key to winning the deal. But I get anxious. I want to know what's happening with James. So let's go and log into Outlook and check the email to see if we get a response from James. Now that we're logged into Outlook, it looks like we actually do have a response from James. He wants to talk about pricing. This is great. We can advance the deal. Inside of Salesforce, or inside of Outlook, we can log into Salesforce and log this message against the opportunity record. Now everyone who's going to be involved in the deal is going to be able to see this stream of communication, and I'll be able to rally the troops to help me bring it in. So I'm going to go work on this proposal, get my boss involved and other people there, and until I come back to check in on James, Greg, you want to take it back?
Great. Thanks, Ronnie. I mean, really cool tools that you're seeing inside of the Lightning Experience to help reps sell faster and sell smarter. So the best sales organizations I've seen understand what's going on inside of their organization. They understand exactly what they need to do, how they need to steer their ship, and make good decisions. And one of my old sales managers used to say, you need to understand everything that's going on to make insightful decisions. And the Sales Wave Analytics application helps you do just that. With Sales Wave, now all the data that was traditionally locked in with sales operations that took a lot of pivot tables and VLOOKUPs and Excel and weeks to actually get all of that data out is available to every sales rep and every sales manager. Wave helps you do forecasting, helps you see pipeline trends, so you know exactly what's coming in and out of your forecast at any given time. And this is all available on a mobile device as well. Complex forecasting and trending on a mobile device, that is crazy stuff that was never possible before Sales Wave. So a critical part for every sales organization is forecasting. You have to know where you're going to end up at the end of the month. And there's no such thing as a pretty accurate forecast. It's either right or it's wrong. There's no in between. You can't have a general idea on where you're going to end up. You need to know so that you can make the right business decisions to make sure that you are going to hit your number and make your quota. Unfortunately, a lot of forecasting just comes down to the sales reps updating their data. They have to go in and change the stage and log their notes. It's one more thing for them to do. But the opportunity Kanban inside of the Lightning Experience makes it incredibly easy. It's a drag and drop experience. So now, as a rep, I can see all my deals on one screen. I get notifications if there's a potential problem with that deal, and I can just drag it over to the next stage. There's absolutely no excuse not to have a 100% accurate forecast when you're using the opportunity Kanban to manage all of your deals. Now, I want to tell you about Britannica. Britannica is a company that has transformed itself. When I was a kid, we had the Encyclopedia Britannica, the leather-bound volumes, up on the wall, and I was a history major. So when I was younger, I used to go in and like to look stuff up, read all the articles in the big books. It's a little geeky, I know, but history major. But that has changed. The times have changed. People aren't reading leather-bound volumes anymore. They're going to the internet. And just like the way people consume information has changed, Britannica has changed. Encyclopedia Britannica has changed into Britannica Digital. And we're really lucky to have Michael Ross. He's the SVP and GM of Digital Learning here to tell us a little bit about Britannica and their transformation. Michael, welcome.
How you doing, Greg? Thank you.
Hey. So Michael, tell me a little bit about Britannica and the transformation you guys have gone through over the last few years.
Well, you actually said it there with that number, 1768. We call ourselves a 240-year-old startup. So our business has completely transformed. I know that many people go back 20 years and they remember, floppy disks and CD-ROM and the way the product originally started to transform itself. Then there's the internet, and all of a sudden everything else changed. And in 2012, we finally got rid of the print. We're a 100% digital company. All our customers are online, whether they're mobile or at desktops. So reaching those customers is quite a bit different than the old days when you had knocking on doors. And we don't do that anymore.
Yeah. So how has that digital transformation affected the way you sell and your sales reps?
It's affected us tremendously because now everybody has complete transparency to a customer base that they didn't have before. They didn't have to go one by one. Instead of narrow casting one by one, now they can look at the whole environment that they're in, and they can call on their prospects, and they can also know when they're there, when they're not there, what they want, what their needs are, and establish kind of an intimacy with the customers that they were never able to do before they even get a chance to meet them. Now, most of our customers are teachers and administrators, and they're a very discerning group, and they want to make sure that you understand their needs before you get to them. Salesforce helps us organize all of that.
That's fantastic. And what kind of results have you seen since you've been on Salesforce for what, 4 years now?
I think more. I think 6, something like that. Yeah. We've been on about 5, 6 years. The greatest thing about what it's done is it's put everybody on the same page. Everybody is in the same swimming pool now. What I mean by that is our reps. Everybody sees the same information. They know how to divide it. And the results are tremendous. First of all, they're much more efficient. They're much more motivated. They're not doing some of the things that people talked about earlier, like administrative work.
Sure.
They're really spending time with customers and customer needs. And we've seen our profits improve tremendously. We talk about 17% year-on-year improvement on profit. And I think that most of that has to do with not just Salesforce, but the behaviors that come along with using a sophisticated tool like Salesforce and the add-ons.
It's amazing. 17% increase in profitability from a company founded in the 1700s. Fantastic. So what's your best practice? We're talking about best practices today. What can you share with us to get to those results?
I think it's very important that everybody lives on Salesforce, that they don't use it as a, well, maybe I'll do it, maybe I won't, or I'll get to it later. I got this opportunity, I'll put it, maybe I'll put, what we have to do is tell people every day, open it up. This is what you start with. It's like, your alarm rings, someone mentioned about their phone. You're on it, you're living in it. Share the information, because knowledge is power. The more information you have, the more successful you're going to be. So best practice means it's got to be a habit. It can't be something that you kind of do sometimes. You've got to do it all the time.
That's great. Thank you so much, Michael. Really
Thanks
appreciate
a lot.
it.
Thank you.
That's great. Making sure the reps are, we heard before, building it for the reps, making sure the reps are using it, bringing it as part of a habit, making it part of your process. It's a great best practice for everybody. And one way to ensure success when you're building it for the reps is to really customize and tailor Salesforce. It's an incredibly flexible system. The platform is built to make sure that Salesforce fits every unique business need in this room. I talked about it before. If the tool isn't working for your reps, if they're not getting value out of it, if it's showing information that they don't need to see, you're wasting time and you're risking adoption. Salesforce platform and the Lightning App Builder help you build applications and tailor the system faster than ever before. We've always been configurable. We've taken it even beyond what we thought was possible. Drag and drop interfaces, which you'll see, components that you can add in there. And now, think about it. Even at the most basic level, when you create a field, say you want to track your top competitor, I create that, I add it onto my opportunity, it's immediately available on my dashboard, it's actually available in the app for Outlook, and it's available on my mobile phone. With just 2 clicks, you can add that in. It's incredible. So tailor the system to fit all of your unique business needs, and really think outside of the box. What's your biggest, most gnarly, most complicated spreadsheet? Try and build that into Salesforce. You'll probably have a lot of success. And if you don't want to build it yourself, that's fine too. We have the App Exchange. The App Exchange has 3,000 pre-built applications that you can install into your instance of Salesforce and see value right away. These applications have been installed over 1 million times. It's amazing. The App Exchange just turned 10 years old about 2 months ago. So we've seen a lot of customers seeing a lot of value, whether it's email applications, HR applications, segmentation applications, pre-built dashboards. There's a great package in there. It's really simple, but it's adoption dashboards. Click to install that, and you can start to measure how are your users using Salesforce. It's all free. It's all available. Just as easy as installing an app on your iPhone. So Ronnie, let's come back up here and see how we're going to end up closing out that deal.
Yeah, thanks, Greg. So we left off at starting to get the pieces together to pull a proposal in and win this Presidio deal. When I sit down with my boss to get help, she wants to start looking at my opportunities. So this is the list view we all know and love. But there's got to be a better way, right? My favorite view inside the Lightning Experience and new feature is the Opportunity Kanban. This gives us a single screen representation of every deal inside my pipeline. I even see how every deal rolls up by stage too. The Kanban gives me notifications to say, hey, you need to work this deal. You're not paying attention to this opportunity. And better yet, my boss notices that Presidio is in the wrong stage. So we can drag and drop the deal and the opportunity record updates automatically. We can drill into the opportunity itself to work it. Front and center, we see the sales path. We know it, we are familiar with it from Salesforce 1, but inside of Lightning, it's available on the desktop. Here I get all the tips that I need and all the tasks I have to accomplish to move a deal from stage to stage. But my boss recommends that it's time to file a deal support request to actually get that pricing help that we need. So I type in, I'm working on a deal, I need competitive intel, can you help me with price? And click save, and the people on the competitive intelligence team and the pricing team are gonna rally to help me get everything I need to pull this deal in with Presidio Technologies. Once that lands, I can actually build the quote. And with SteelBrick, can build it right from the opportunity workspace. SteelBrick helps me pull in all the recent pricing guidelines or updates if they're any, include relevant documents, and then I can generate the quote right here. It has all the guardrails up so that if I need approvals, I can get it from my manager as well. Once I click generate, we see the quote appear on the screen, including all of the line items that we're trying to sell to Presidio and the terms and conditions of working together. Once it's saved, it sends out to James, and then I can follow up to make sure he actually signs this proposal. So we talked briefly here today already about how to work a deal as a rep. We talked briefly as well about the sales manager, but what about our admins? It's easier than ever to update Salesforce and make it customizable and flexible to all of your needs, and it's never been a better time to be an admin. We're looking at the Lightning App Builder now, where now you can simply drag and drop components that you download from the App Exchange, or custom components that you build, straight into the canvas. So if I want to add a commission calculator for all of our reps, we can download exactly from the App Exchange, drag and drop it into the canvas, and click Save. As soon as we refresh the page, every rep sees how all of their deals are going to impact their final number. Remember, I want to tell my boss, it's time to pay me some accelerators. But it gets better than that, because there are thousands and thousands of different components that are available on the App Exchange, so you can customize Salesforce to meet all of your needs. But there's one more thing we want to show you today, and we've got just enough time to do it. It's the all-new dashboards. Our customers ask us for flexible dashboards, and now inside of Lightning, you can have up to 9 components across any of the rows. You can drag and drop different charts and place them wherever you want on the screen, and you can even resize them to create the best representations of data to easily consume it on any dashboard. It's a great experience for customers. So we showed you through the whole demo how you can sell faster, smarter, the way you want to, and how flexible Salesforce is, how you can sell from your phone or from the desktop. And if you want to see how we close the deal with James, come visit us in the product showcase just outside. So Greg, let's close out the session.
That's great. Thanks, Ronnie. Thank you, Serena, back there driving the demo. So we talked, yeah, round of applause, nice job. So we talked about 4 best practices today. These are my main recommendations for all of you. Hopefully you all wrote something down or took it in the Salesforce Notes application. One more best practice I have for you is to keep learning. Sales is hard. The industry, every industry is changing. The way you sell is changing. We have a brand new site. It's called Quotable. It's amazing. We have thought leaders from across the industry. We have Salesforce's sales leaders all posting on here and writing articles and giving their advice and their tips to help you sell more. So go check out Quotable. I guarantee you'll learn something. It's a really, really amazing site. And finally, we want to hear more from you. We want to know how we were doing. So visit the registration booth back up front, fill out a survey, and you get a free t-shirt. So thank you all so much for being here today.